Alrighty, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. You're listening to another episode of Cloud and Clear, SADA's Cloud Transformation Podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Harley, VP of Ecosystem and Solutions at SADA. And before we get started, please remember to like and subscribe to our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. And today I'm pleased to welcome Scott Bergquist to the pod. Scott leads our SADA go-to-market for data, AI, and industry solutions. So Scott, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, well, thank you, Nikki. I'm super happy and excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we dive into the meat of the conversation, would you mind telling our listeners a little bit more about yourself, where you're based, where you're from, just some of your background in tech?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm based in Boston. I think the accent may come out once or twice while we have the conversation. We'll see. My background, I've spent 25 plus years in tech. I have held roles at IBM, Cisco, DataRobot in the AI machine learning space, and most recently VMware. My career journey has all been about driving growth through strategic sales and business development, go-to-market strategy, ecosystems, and really consultative value creation in the areas of AI, machine learning, data platforms, and enterprise transformation.
Awesome. Well, your Boston accent will come out and my Southern accent will come out and will be a good contrast to each other.
Nice.
Okay, well, awesome. Well, we're thrilled to have you here at SADA. Was so excited when you joined and excited to dive in to the conversation today. So, of course, we can't do a Cloud and Clear podcast in 2024 without talking about Gen AI. So as our go-to-market leader in this space, can you share some of the trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, awesome. It's my favorite topic. Something that I'm incredibly passionate about, something I've been passionate about for a long period of time. But first, I want to emphasize that there's real value in AI. This is not just a regular hype cycle, and we sort of get distracted by that, the ups and downs of tech hype cycles. My view is that AI will fundamentally transform our economy, our business structures, and how we think about jobs, including our own in the future. To give it some context, we know that AI will generate about 4 to 6% growth of world GDP in the coming years, which roughly translates to about $4.5 trillion. That's like adding 4 New York cities to the world economy every single year. For a business, this fundamentally means a massive productivity increase. So right now, in general, it takes about 5 employees on average to generate $1 million in revenue. That will go to less than 3 in the future. And so future enterprise competitiveness will really be dictated by the ability of businesses to scale AI, not by scaling new headcount, but by scaling AI. And so just a massive opportunity. In terms of a second trend we're seeing is that the market and the platforms are just moving super fast, really, really fast. The pace of innovation is incredible. In the past year, Google released about 1,000 product updates just in AI alone. And remember, the advent of Gen AI in any meaningful sense is only about 18 months old. And I am most interested in the innovations of the platforms. We talk a lot about the models, Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, what have you. But in my view, foundational models will be in the future essentially like utilities, with a few emerging and businesses tapping into those. The winners in the space will actually be the ones with best platforms to apply AI as broadly and as quickly as possible. Lastly, I would say a trend is that 2024 is all about moving from AI promise to AI profit, what we at SADA are calling AI with ROI. We have seen many companies struggle with trying to move past this experimentation phase and trying to get actually these AI solutions to production in a way that positively impacts their bottom line. Over 85% have Gen AI as a top 3 priority, but only about 6% uncomfortable with their pace of adoption. This means there's a top-down exec level pressure to do more with AI.
Yeah. No, I mean, to your point, the pace of innovation here is crazy. 1,000 plus updates from Google in the last year. It's exciting, but it can also be kind of overwhelming, right? Like from a business perspective, where do you start? So can you talk a little bit more about how we're helping our customers just get started in their AI journey so they can start to see some of that ROI that you mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, just to start with the premise that AI holds tremendous opportunity for all organizations, but then AI doesn't really impact the business itself until that workload gets into production. And so we're really looking at how AI drives value to impact the business process, to make it efficient, faster, cheaper, more able to scale. And as we think about the process to get a use case from, okay, there's an opportunity to apply AI here in a business, to actually getting that solution into production and that the business process fundamentally transformed, there's several choke points along that way. And so a few of those choke points that we're helping with, first is this proliferation of use cases. I say that there's literally 1,000 or more use cases in any given industry to apply AI. And a lot of customers are just struggling on where to start and which use case to focus on. And so this is why we launched GenAI Journey Accelerator, which is an offer to help customers set their AI journey in a very intentional way to identify and prioritize based upon best practices, use cases that will impact their business the most in the shortest amount of time, to help them avoid common pitfalls. So we see a lot of customers start and then hit a roadblock and then stop and then have to restart. So aligning on projects to deliver ROI in weeks, not months. That's a fundamental aspect of what we're doing. Secondly, I would say addressing the AI talent shortage. We all know that customers have a backlog of AI projects, right, that they want to achieve, but they're struggling with the war for talent. AI talent is going to become more scarce in the coming years. And so SADA's flex services model is a perfect fit here, right? To provide access to a bench of world-class AI, machine learning, and data engineers to help industrialize AI throughput in an organization. That's another area where we're super focused. Getting your data ready for AI. It is commonly said that there is no AI without data, and that's really true. That the power of GenAI doesn't come from the foundational models alone, which literally just predict the next word in the sentence based upon a massive probability distribution. AI needs to be grounded in your enterprise truth to provide context, provide more relevant results, reduce hallucinations, and then further, it's not just about generating new content, right? You want to actually have your enterprise content perhaps within the results. So having embeddings which leverage your databases in a vector database to improve the results of your AI, this requires your data foundation is AI ready. This means centralized, accessible, secure, governed, and monitored. And so SADA has worked with many customers to modernize the data platforms and get them ready for AI. And then lastly, I would say our superpower is that we can address all facets of enterprise readiness for AI. It's not just about models, agents, prompts, and API calls. We can help with really everything across all things Google Cloud. This includes security, data modernization, app and inframod, and of course, enterprise adoption of AI through Google Workspace and change management services.
Awesome. So yeah, you mentioned getting your data ready. So important, right? So now that our customers have gotten their data prepped and they're ready to start seeing some of the ROI from AI, what would you say are the most common use cases that you're hearing from customers that they want to start to leverage?
Yeah, great question. And as I mentioned, there are literally thousands, right? But we are
so narrow it down for us.
Yeah, and so let's kind of narrow that down and talk about ones that we're seeing just kind of repeatedly and that might represent some low-hanging fruit. So first, you can't really talk about this space without talking about content generation, and that's just a great starting point. So just using AI in your day-to-day to help you produce content, whether that's presentations, emails, documents, what have you. And so from surveys, we know that approximately 45% of employees in large organizations use GenAI today in their daily work to just produce and summarize content. And this is where something like Gemini for Google Workspace could come in. Through this add-on, you can empower really every workspace user in your organization to be AI-driven. Now, this in and of itself is a massive lift to productivity and creativity. Plus, it's an easy way to drive org-wide adoption of AI and get your company ready for more advanced use cases. The second use case we see a lot is just in customer service. And so this will help businesses with their customer experience to get answers customers need with less human intervention. Summarize conversations, automate more tasks, etc. And so we've seen tremendous results in the space. So imagine the ability to resolve customer issues by 80% at 20% of the cost with higher quality. Not only is there a massive cost savings by using chatbots and agents, but we've seen that using AI to improve customer experience has about 10 to 15% uplift on revenue due to higher customer satisfaction, less frustration, and larger order sizes. Another use case that we see a lot is contract or document search, summarization, and synthesis. This is one of my favorite use cases because, like many, I've been frustrated in my career by the time spent on legal reviews and negotiations. And we can just radically speed that up by using AI to review documents, spot risk and compliance issues, compare versions of documents against each other, and summarize old documents, old contracts in seconds. If you ever spend time reviewing old contracts that someone else has written, you know how valuable this could be. And Nikki, I'm sure you're in that, that same mindset.
I came from the document management space, so I'm a document management nerd here. So Doc AI is very exciting.
Lawyers aren't cheap, right, to review documents. And so freeing up them to spend more time on valuable activities and reducing time spent on doc review is huge. So think about how we can apply that to current negotiations, M&A activities. So, when you get acquired or acquiring company, looking at contracts and doing due diligence and, finding kind of those hidden things within contracts is super important. So again, immediate value can be created, vendor management, regulatory compliance, I could go on and on. Further, I would say this whole idea of contract document search has wide applicability. One example from early in my career is I spent time consulting at an oil company. And at that time, the aging workforce in the maintenance space was a real issue. It still is, by the way. And so when I asked one of these workers, how do they actually determine if there's a problem with a pipe or problem with a valve? They literally put their hand on it and feel it for vibrations, feel for heat. And so transferring that knowledge to a new worker, incredibly difficult. But now think about AI being able to look at repair notes, old manuals, and actually be able to summarize what happens if a valve breaks or a pipe leaks. Incredibly powerful, right? So this just is wide applicability across all industries. And then in terms of another use case that we're seeing a lot, developer productivity. So mentioned the shortage of technical skills. This is just a massive opportunity for anybody that has highly coveted tech resource developers. We know how important these folks are within our business, how difficult it is to find them, hire, train, and retain them. By using AI for code reviews, code translations, code suggestions, we can increase the productivity of developers and engineers by 50% or more. It also helps with onboarding new developers. If you've ever reviewed someone else's code, and I did a lot early in my career, you know how frustrating it can be to debug and edit it. So AI could radically help this process to onboard new developers, looking at old code and summarizing it. And of course, code translations. So translating something like COBOL to Python becomes almost drag and drop.
Awesome. So we've talked about some of the typical use cases there. But to me, the most powerful stories are the ones that we share with real customers. So could you talk about some of these use cases that we've worked with actual customers on? Even if you have to anonymize them, it's fine.
Yeah, of course. And I will. So I haven't asked permission, so just let me caveat that. But I will talk about in general what we have done with some of our customers. And I love talking about this. If you're able to attend Google Next, we had many of these customers up on stage talking with us about their use cases. I encourage everybody to really look out for blog posts, information from customers that are really leveraging this technology. But one that I like to speak about is something we did for an ad tech company. And so they used Gen AI to generate audience profile reports for targeted marketing campaigns. identifying crossover target markets, etc. And what they found is a lot of times the users of their platform, didn't really have the slightest idea how to create a campaign targeting a very specific audience profile. So using GenAI to actually help their customers with campaigns and campaign assets, that's just like a super prevalent use case. Another use case that we've done with a client is around validating mortgage applications, a large mortgage lender, to look at the mortgage application, compare that against various rules or regulations. We also see this use case repeating in areas such as insurance applications and claims handling. So again, this is one that is super easy to repeat and generalize across industries. And then lastly, I'll talk about something we did with a very well-known NBA team to implement Google Vertex AI recommendations to promote articles, events, videos, to increase user engagement on the team's mobile app. So being able to sort of personalize that user experience to generate increased ticket sales. Again, that type of use case is super prevalent for anybody that's really trying to get tighter customer engagement.
So fun fact about me, I started my career in sales by selling tickets for an NBA team. And so this use case like really hits home for me. And they have this saying where I used to work that if you can sell basketball in the South, you can sell anything anywhere. So it sounds like I would have sold a lot more tickets had we been able to leverage AI back then. Well, cool. So you mentioned some of these customers got up on stage at Google Next and shared their experience with Gen AI. But there were so many announcements. So can you kind of whittle those down and share the ones that you were really most excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. So you and I were joking that AI was almost every other word at Google Next. There were 260 AI announcements alone at that event. So there's a lot to consume. But let me kind of break it down to my favorite innovations. So Gemini 1.5 in public preview, able to ingest 1 million tokens. And just last week, Google announced they increased that to 2 million tokens. So basically what this means is just be able to ingest larger sets of data into those models to consume. And so improving broader context for the model and the results. Also multimodal capabilities. So before Gemini 1.0, text only, but the ability to leverage AI, Gen AI, Gemini for audio, video, text, and code, all in one platform, all in one model, incredibly powerful. So multimodal. And the increased tokens, just to put that in context for anybody who's a Harry Potter fan, that means that you could fit all Harry Potter illustrated, so not just text, but the images itself. Put all of those combined books. Now you can provide that as context for your model. Now, I am more of a token guy myself. So now with 2 million tokens, you can add in all of the Lord of the Rings books as well. So think about all, Lord of the Rings plus Harry Potter. That gives you a sense of the size of the context now able to be ingested by this model. So that's one innovation I'm super excited about. Agent Builder, right, was another innovation that's announced. So the ability to develop and deploy agents that are grounded in your enterprise truth without code, right? So all of this is a no-code experience. This allows you to build Gen AI bots just in a few clicks that are enterprise ready. So this includes grounding, like I mentioned. So it's really based upon your enterprise data. Orchestration made easy. So things like production ready RAG and information retrieval that could be plugged into existing data sources. And then pre-built connectors. And there's a lot more of these coming, but think about connectors for SharePoint, Jira, Confluence, and many more, right? And then lastly, I mentioned the developer productivity, but Gemini Code Assist, again, it's kind of mind-blowing stuff. And it's really about making coding a lot smarter. So it's about not just about auto-completing lines. Gemini can understand your code, fix bugs, help you write tests, that's practically build whole apps in conjunction with you. So it's just this massive multiplier effect for your developers and technical talent.
Awesome. So many exciting updates and innovations. Are there any others that you think are coming this year that we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, absolutely. So just a few that I'm excited about. So arbiter models, right, are pretty interesting. So think about two different models, maybe leveraging two different foundational models. You can actually have a third model that arbitrates between the results of those two to basically say which one is better for any given business outcome that you're trying to achieve. So that arbiter model is super interesting. The other one I'm super excited about is AI assisted prompting. So if you're in the space, this notion of prompt engineering to get as relevant as results as possible and reduce hallucinations. So where AI gets it wrong. So that's a whole field that's developing around prompt engineering. Now we can actually use Gen AI to build prompts in a better fashion. So this whole idea of AI assisted prompting is super exciting. And then last thing I'll mention, this was announced at Next, but it's coming more as a general release, grounding on Google search, right? So the Gen AI foundational models, and we all know this from like Chat GPT, is that they are really frozen in time, right? So when Chat GPT first came out, it was trained, I think, up to like end of 2021. And so if you asked it anything about the Ukraine war or current events, it would not know anything about them, return gibberish. So now with grounding on Google search, you can actually bring in real world context in conjunction with those trained foundational models. This is like super exciting. So the ability to actually have that context with Google search, in addition to your enterprise data, again, I'm super excited about this.
So many exciting innovations and updates expected for the year. So looking forward to those. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, well, thank you. Really enjoyed the conversation as well. And it's been great giving you and the audience an inside look at the work we're doing to bring the power of AI to customers.
Awesome. Well, if you liked what you heard here today, we hope you stick around and come back for another upcoming episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on Cloud and Clear.
Thank you for listening to Cloud and Clear. Check the show notes for links to this week's topics. And don't forget to connect with us on Twitter @Cloud and Clear and our website, sada.com.